why. Why in the world do we care so much about Odell Beckham and voluntary OTAs? Why in the world do we care about any player and voluntary OTAs? Why is it such a driving topic, specifically in the city of Cleveland? Why are we talking about this so much? Why are we wasting so much time talking about Odell Beckham and his attendance or lack thereof of voluntary OTAs? Again, keyword is voluntary OTAs. Now, this won't be like a normal post-weekend video. There's not going to be a ticker of different topics. There's not going to be a topic bar like there normally is, because this video is about one topic, one stupid, stubborn topic that just people who work in the media in the specific cities just won't seem to let go or give up on, is this narrative of Odell Beckham not showing up to voluntary OTAs. Now, for the most part, I just didn't care if he showed up to voluntary OTAs. That's where I stand on it. But the reason I'm making this video is now we're getting to the point to where the media is jumping to conclusions about this man's character because he's not showing up to voluntary mini camps. They're jumping to conclusion about this man as a teammate because he's not showing up to voluntary OTAs when they're not giving the same criticism to other players throughout the years. Now, I don't know what people think voluntary OTAs are. I would assume that the people who are reporting on this consistently, who have been working in this city around football for years, know that voluntary OTAs are relatively nothing. I have actually heard the same people complaining about Odell Beckham day in and day out not being there enough at OTAs, complain that they have to cover voluntary OTAs because, quote, nothing happens there, or that the only good thing that can happen at voluntary OTAs is that there's no news because that means nobody got injured. But for whatever reason this year, the same people who know that voluntary OTAs is just kind of a vanity thing that doesn't have any effect on the season want to act like voluntary OTAs is this Rocky II montage that is going to get the team all tightened up together so they can make a Super Bowl run, and Odell Beckham's doing a disservice to the team by not showing up, and it's going to set the team back come football season because he's not at voluntary OTAs in May. In May. We're talking about a practice in May like it's going to affect games. And I have tried my best to avoid this topic. I didn't want to make this rant because this is kind of stupid. But it's May and it's all that I hear. It's the conversation force. When I want to hear Browns talk, I have to sit through 15 to 20 minutes of people arguing back and forth about whether Odell Beckham should be at voluntary mini camps, as if it matters if he was there or not. And I know that these guys are multi-million-dollar football players and they're getting to play the game that they love, and that most people think that they should just do whatever the league tells them to do and be happy about it because they get the opportunity to play football for a living. That's awesome. Like, imagine if you were a bartender and you've been a top quality, one of the best bartenders in your field for the last 5 years professionally. You are the best at your job. You know how to make every drink. You have done it all. You are one of the best bartenders in the entire region. Let's imagine that you, as a bartender, top of your craft, plan a very well-earned vacation. And then let's also imagine that during that vacation, their employer asks them to come in to work to learn a drink that they probably already know, but they just changed the name of it a little bit. oh, by the way, not only are you coming in during your vacation, you're not getting paid for it. Would you jump at the opportunity to do that? I'm not about to sit here and demand that players come in and work for free. I'm not about to sit here and ignore the word voluntary in voluntary minicamp and act as if that's not something the players bargained for in the CBA. All voluntary minicamps are photo opportunities. There are opportunities to take promotional videos. There are opportunities to take a picture so you can see Baker Mayfield and Odell Beckham standing next to each other, and it can drive ticket sales. That is the only reason voluntary OTAs practically exist. It is a publicity stunt. It is not a necessary thing for the season. Now, my feelings are pretty obviously set on the matter. But let's look at some of the arguments that I've heard on why he needs to be here. The first of which is stupid. And that argument is that, well, he needs to show up to build bonds with his teammates because he's on a new team and he's doing a disservice to them by not. When I hear that point, it kind of makes me wish that there was this mandatory camp period where you're submerged in team activities for about 2-3 months right before the season starts, and you get a chance to really bond with your teammates and create friendships and all that fun, stupid jazz that people are talking about. See, people who make this point act like the mandatory camps don't exist, that he's definitely going to be at. Okay, if he didn't show up to training camp, that would be a story. If he was holding out of voluntary OTAs because he wanted a new contract, that would be a story. But for what it is right now, Odell just not being at voluntary minicamps because they're voluntary, it is not a story. And to recap, Odell has already committed to this team for the next 5 years. He is not holding out for a new contract. He is not causing any controversy within the team. So why, again, are we making a big deal about whom or who doesn't show up to a voluntary minicamp? And for those of you who are worried about relationships, isn't Jarvis Landry already his best friend? Wasn't he already really good friends with the quarterback of the team? And oh, by the way, you know what wide receiver you guys are painting as a diva actually participated in voluntary workouts with a lot of the Browns personnel last year? Odell Beckham. If you remember when Tyrod Taylor had that voluntary kind of workout for a lot of the guys on the team that Baker Mayfield was at, Jarvis Landry was at, a lot of the guys on the Browns were at, you know who else was there? Odell Beckham, where he got to meet a lot of the guys that he's on the team with. So maybe he doesn't need to be at voluntary OTAs to meet people. Now, there's another side to this coin, a more stupid side to this already stupid coin. And this is the side of people who are saying that Odell, by not showing up to voluntary minicamps, is making this about him. This line of logic blows my mind because the only people who are talking about Odell not showing up are the people who are saying Odell's making this about him. Now, Odell is not holding out. He is not holding out to get a new deal. He is not making a statement by not showing up to voluntary mini camps. He's just not showing up because it's voluntary. And you're making a big deal out of it. Not Odell. You're the one making voluntary mini camps and OTAs all about Odell Beckham. You are making this about Odell because, and let's just say it right here, you just don't like Odell. If you are taking this hard of a stance about Odell not showing up to a voluntary camp, you just don't like the guy. Anything he would have done would have bothered you. If you let this bother you about Odell, maybe it's because he's a big star. Maybe because he dresses fancy. Maybe because he has dye in his hair. Maybe because he's one of the faces of the league. But for whatever reason, there's a lot of people who just don't like Odell Beckham. So they'll use him not showing up to voluntary OTAs as a point to attack how he is as a teammate, or to question how he is as a teammate, or to question his character, when in reality, they don't care about who shows up to voluntary OTAs. You know what? Because last year, I didn't hear a word about Tom Brady or Rob Gronkowski not showing up to voluntary OTAs. And when I did, I heard, oh, they've been on the same team for years. But you know, every offseason, there's new players on the team that they should meet, right? According to your logic. So maybe they should have been there too if it's that important to you. But no, when it's Gronk and Brady, you don't care. What about Mark Ingram, Earl Thomas? Oh, what about Julio Jones? What is your excuse about not caring about those guys showing up to voluntary OTAs last year when it's so damn important this year? Oh, that's right, because it's not. Because it's a voluntary freaking OTA where they're not even wearing pads, they're barely wearing helmets, and they're in shorts and t-shirts. Nothing is getting installed in a voluntary OTA that an NFL veteran can't learn in a day or two. There will be people who are added to this team 2 weeks before the end of training camp who will be able to learn everything they needed to learn in voluntary OTAs in about 3 hours. It's not important. So please cut it. I don't care anymore. I don't want to listen to any talk about it anymore. And you know what? I'm done talking about it, period. Whether I like it, whether I don't, I'm done talking about it personally. It's just beating a dead horse, because in all reality, talking about Odell not showing up to voluntary OTAs is the only way to fit his name in the headlines so people will listen or click or do whatever you want them to do. That has to be the only reason that you're acting like you care about voluntary OTAs. So that's it. So that's it. I'm done talking about voluntary OTAs. I'm through with it. Okay, I have had enough with freaking voluntary OT. I can't wait till training camp starts so something of actual substance can start to be there to talk about. I'm just getting anxious now as a Browns fan. I want actual football to play, and I'm tired of talking about this nonsense in between. But thank you guys for listening to my rant. I know I babbled on. Hope you guys enjoyed it. But again, thank you for listening to me babble on. If you like what I had to say, if you like the format of these videos and you want to hear from me more, please hit that subscribe button. And if you really like me and want to know whenever I drop a video, which is 3 times a week, hit that notification bell so you can be notified right when I upload a video. And if you have a buck or two to spare, please consider joining the Patreon so you can join the friendly people listed in the ticker down below and in the comment section down below, because I don't want this to be a one-sided conversation. Let me know what you feel about the coverage of voluntary OTAs and voluntary OTA attendance. Do you think it matters? Do you have a reason why it matters? Do you think I'm way off base? Please let me know in the comment section down below what you think so we can interact down below. But again, guys, thank you for watching. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and have a great day.